The First Amendment to the United States Constitution is part of the Bill of Rights and protects 5 fundamental freedoms. 1. Freedom of speech, the right to express one's opinions without government interference or censorship. 2. Freedom of the press, the right of journalists and media organizations to report news without government censorship. 3. Freedom of religion. This includes both the right to practice any religion and the right not to practice any religion. 4. Freedom to assemble peacefully, the right to gather in groups for peaceful protests, rallies, and events. 5. Right to petition the government, the ability to make complaints or seek help from the government without fear of punishment. Exercising First Amendment rights in public is generally protected, but there are some limits. For example, time, place, and manner restrictions. Government can impose restrictions on where, when, and how people exercise these rights, as long as these restrictions are content-neutral and serve a significant interest, e.g., keeping roads open or maintaining public order. For example, you might need a permit for a large public rally. Incitement to violence. Speech that incites imminent violence or unlawful actions is not protected. Obscenity, threats, and defamation. Certain types of speech, like true threats, defamatory statements, or obscene content, are not protected. Disruption or trespassing. People can be arrested if they disrupt public order, obstruct traffic, enter restricted areas, or refuse to comply with lawful police orders. Even during peaceful protests, blocking a public road without a permit or entering private property without permission could lead to arrest. The government cannot arrest people simply for the content of their speech. However, they can enforce reasonable restrictions to maintain safety and public order. The First Amendment of the United States Constitution protects several basic freedoms, which are: 1. Freedom of speech, the right to express ideas and information without government interference. 2. Freedom of the press, the right of journalists and news organizations to report information and opinions without censorship or restraint. 3. Freedom of religion, the right to practice any religion or no religion without government interference, including protection against the establishment of a state religion. 4. Freedom of assembly, the right to gather peacefully for protests, meetings, or other events. 5. Freedom to petition the government, the right to appeal to government bodies to change policies or address grievances. These rights ensure that citizens can freely express their opinions and beliefs, and they are foundational to American democracy. Can people be arrested for exercising First Amendment rights? Generally, people cannot be arrested solely for exercising their First Amendment rights. However, there are limits to these rights, especially in certain contexts or under certain conditions. People may face arrest if they violate specific laws, even during lawful expression such as inciting violence or riot. Speech that incites imminent violence, is meant to, and likely to provoke immediate unlawful actions, can lead to legal consequences. Obstructing public spaces or private property, protests or assemblies that block traffic, trespass, or prevent others from accessing public spaces can be restricted. Time, place, and manner restrictions. Authorities may set reasonable limits on when, where, and how speech or assembly can occur, such as requiring permits or restricting noise levels, as long as these restrictions are content-neutral and apply equally to everyone. Threats and harassment. Speech that directly threatens individuals, such as harassment or intimidation, is not protected. Police are expected to uphold these rights while maintaining public safety. Arrests during protests or public assemblies sometimes occur if authorities determine that individuals have crossed into unlawful behavior. But if law enforcement improperly interferes with someone's First Amendment rights without valid grounds, this could be challenged legally. In the United States, a lawful order given by a police officer is an instruction or directive that is within the legal authority of the officer and complies with the Constitution and laws. Here are some factors that determine if an order is lawful. 1. Legal authority. The order must be based on legitimate authority granted to law enforcement by local, state, or federal law. For example, police can order someone to stop if they have reasonable suspicion that the person is involved in criminal activity. 2. Constitutional compliance. The order must comply with constitutional rights, such as the Fourth Amendment, protecting against unreasonable searches and seizures, the First Amendment, protecting free speech, and the Fifth Amendment, right against self-incrimination. An order that violates these rights, e.g., ordering someone to let them search without probable cause, would not be lawful. 3. Clear necessity. A lawful order usually needs to be clear and necessary for public safety or law enforcement. Examples include O. Telling a person to stop resisting arrest. O. Directing someone to leave an area during a lawful dispersal order. O. Requiring someone to stay in place during a traffic stop for safety reasons. 4. Scope of the order. The order should be proportional and relevant to the situation. For instance, an officer cannot order someone to give up personal information without reason, as this could violate privacy rights. Failure to obey a lawful order can result in arrest, often under charges like obstructing justice or disorderly conduct. However, whether an order is truly lawful can depend on the circumstances and may be challenged in court.